is the last one, and I mentioned before that this is a man. He went through flight training too, and I remember when you went through all that flight training. He's also, I remember something very vividly. I worked for an insurance company that handled automobile accidents. And William is the only person that I knew that would wear a helmet driving inside his car. Again, it's not Bill Persinger, it's William Persinger. Help me welcome William. Come on up here.
Thank you, Judy. First, I want to congratulate all past and present members of Virginia Beach Toastmasters for making this a great club, for keeping it growing for so many years. I also want to congratulate and thank all the past and present club officers who really helped this club grow. Because normally in Toastmasters, a club only lasts about 7 or 9 years before it dies. That's what the average lifestyle is. And this club is 5 times the age of a normal Toastmasters club. So I want to thank everybody for your participation all over the years and for participating in the Virginia Beach Toastmasters Club. So we're making it to 50 years. Hopefully, if you all keep participating and get your friends and children involved, we'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary 50 years from now. I started off Toastmasters, not here, but in Jacksonville, North Carolina, where I joined Toastmasters in the summer of 1978. A few years after Jack joined Toastmasters. Then I came up to school here to Norfolk, where I joined the Virginia Beach Toastmasters, I think around February 1979. At that time, the club was an all-men's group. What people don't realize, until the early 1970s, Toastmasters was an all-men's organization. But then they decided, since their growth was falling down, the only way to get the growth to go was to tap the other part of the population, and that was the women. But some of the clubs were still allowed to maintain all-male membership if they wanted. That was what Virginia Beach Toastmasters Club was at the time. We met at the Pine Tree Inn, which is long gone by now. And believe it or not, it was a dinner meeting, and it cost you only $4.95 for a chicken meal. Chicken dinner, isn't that great? All those great prices. But over time, like the club, our membership began to fall. We tried to persuade a lot of the older members that we should allow women in to increase our membership, but they just wouldn't do it. But over time, the old conventions finally left, and we got some new members who thought we need to increase our membership. There's only one other group we could draw from. And I think Judy was like the 3rd woman who came to our group. The original woman invited in, she was our first woman. She came up and she sat in for a couple of meetings and looked around and she was the only woman here. And then she left and never came back. I think we had a second woman come. I don't know if she brought you, Judy?
There was a girl who brought me. She was a real estate agent. She never came back. But there was a woman who was a doctor over at
I'm not sure what it was. Anyway, the first woman just didn't like being in all males group. And thanks to Judy, she stayed and she hoped to get a lot more members, female members in the club. Well, one thing here, you look at our banner here, we got a lot of ribbons for all the things we've done. We'd actually have a lot more, but in the first 5 years I was a member of the Virginia Beach Toastmasters in the early 80s, they lost their banner twice. And Toastmasters doesn't give you replacement ribbons, unfortunately. One thing I like about Toastmasters is you meet a lot of different people from a very broad range of activities and education levels. So normally if you join other groups, professional groups, it tends to be very much along a certain line. It's not a really broad group. So there's some business groups where you're supposed to get contacts or leads. These are business type of clubs where the dentist was going to lead for a real estate agent, vice versa, that type of thing. There's always a lot of pressure. You really can't have an opportunity to relax. So this is great about Toastmasters. As Jack pointed out, one of the biggest problems we have with a lot of people is being able to speak before an audience, whether prepared or as a table topic. As you can watch a lot of politicians and corporate executives, you can tell they've never had joined membership as a Toastmaster. We have seen a lot of members come in, they weren't too good at speaking, but after they completed the basic program, they were very good speakers. They could finally get up, give their presentation. They might have not have been a Zig Ziglar, but they could get up and give an entertaining presentation or answer table topics. One thing I think comes to my mind over time is I remember one time we were at a District 66 conference. There was a contest, and I remember our Ed Sykes was the judging chairman, and he thought, I think it was the last minute he was asked to do it. But being a judge is pretty easy for a district contest. You just after you make sure all the judges make the votes, collect them. You just count up the number, then you hand out the award. But after we collected the ballots, two persons came up to the chief judge Sykes and said, one of the speakers is a plagiarist, and I've added a little complications to the contest. You know, Ed handled it very calmly, like he does all professional activities. But behind his eyes, I could see, what in the hell did I get myself into? If you don't know already, there's lots of Toastmasters clubs outside the United States, especially in English-speaking countries. About 10 years ago, I was in Australia and New Zealand, and they have pretty much the same things we do in Toastmasters. Now, can anyone tell me what part of the program in Toastmasters that we have here in the United States they don't do outside the United States? They don't do it in Australia, they don't do it in Canada. What's that?
Some count. All count.
Sometimes, not enough.
Word master. Listen up.
Tabletop. Tell us. They don't make you pay to be a member.
No. They don't have the Pledge of Allegiance. What it means they don't even have any kind of pledge to their own country. They just really start into the meeting. It's been a great time in Toastmasters. Unfortunately, I think it would come because I live in Chesapeake and I used to work a little bit in Virginia Beach, so it was easy to make it out to the beach area. Now, there's a certain comment of why I wore a bicycle helmet in a car. Well, about 10 years ago, I used to have a Dodge Colt. It only has a seatbelt. It didn't have a bag there. And unfortunately, at the time when I was driving from my house down Johnstown Road, I don't know if people are not familiar with it. It's a two-lane road, and there are a lot of housing developments that go onto this road. And it was very common at the time for driving down the road. If you look all the way ahead of me, all the way behind me, there'd be no cars. No cars at all, far as you can see down. Yet the car right in front of me would insist on pulling right out on me. So that's why I wore the safety helmet, because someone had so many near misses for cars. But now I've updated myself, so I now have a Toyota with a seatbelt and a airbag. So I don't need to wear my helmet anymore. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I hope everybody will participate in Toastmasters because this is really a great organization. As Jack's mentioned before, you learn a lot of things, meet a lot of interesting people, and I hope that we have our 75th and 100th anniversary with all the members and club officers as they work hard to keep the club going. This is a great honor to speak on the 50th anniversary.